Well, I've been afraid of changes, 'cause I built my world around you. So this song, playing and playing and playing and playing in my mind. And instantly, if we love Fleetwood Mac, we know what this song's about. But so it's saying, do we really know what this song's about? Really, at the core of it, the soul of it. So I kind of thought I did, and then I started my automatic writing. If you know me, following me, you know that's part of my process as a channel. That's part of how I channel. So yeah, I get messages through songs coming in. I'm like a human jukebox every day, every night. Whenever Spirit wants to download a song and get these messages through to me, to get them through to you, they'll do it. So this song, I thought it was changes, because that's what kept getting through. Well, I've been afraid of changes, 'cause I built my world around you. So, I've been on this journey for a long, long time myself. Over 7 years now. Instantly, lyrics to songs that hit me. Because I've done this journey. I'm self-aware of what it's took for me to come through this journey, the stages of this journey. I'm very, very aware now of the messages that I receive from Spirit. I'm very open book, they're saying. And that's for another story, they're saying. And I know what they mean by that, because they want me to write a book about my journey. And one day I'm going to. So these are the messages. This is how Spirit gets messages and signs to me. So song. So Landslide is the actual title of it, and it was Stevie Nicks. She was really young when she wrote this song, but you can hear in the words her wisdom. For someone so young, you could hear that wisdom from her soul coming through these words. So yeah, avalanche. So avalanche came through to me for some reason, and then I was like, avalanche, what's that about? And changes, what's that about? So then I thought, I know this song, so I went on, looked at the details of the song. Yeah, landslide. So an avalanche is like a landslide, isn't it? It's not dissimilar. It breaks everything down. So this represented to me a mountain we climb, and the landslide that can hit us at any moment. So the life we built can change in a second. And my landslide was my spiritual awakening, my twin flame awakening. That brought everything down I'd ever thought was, my true mountain. I thought that what I'd built up to that point, from childhood to, to now, to over 7 years ago when my landslide hit, I thought, that was my true mountain. I was wrong. I was so wrong. Couldn't have been even more wrong if I tried. This security, this life I'd built up until that point was about to take me up another mountain. After this landslide hit me, I was about to experience the most hardest, snowy, darkest mountain of my life. I was about to make that climb, and that's because this landslide hit. Without this landslide hitting me, and making these changes, I've been afraid of changes because I've built my world around you. Yeah, I was very afraid at that point. I was so afraid, you know, because I could feel something coming, could hear things coming, could hear spirit at this point coming in. Things was changing in my world that I could not stop from changing. And yeah, as these lyrics go, I was very afraid of this world I'd built, and it was just changing so suddenly. But it wasn't just one thing, it was a lot of changes. You know, this lady, she's going up this mountain, and looks like there's an avalanche coming towards her, you know, through there, and she's carrying these burdens. Yeah, if I thought I'd climbed a mountain through, you know, on my everyday life, wow, I was in for a big shock when this landslide hit. Yeah, so this awakening, it was part of me losing my old identity. You know, there was sending me to places to lose my old identity and to understand, you know, the old self of me was not my true identity. That was just a mask I'd been wearing. That was not the real Ellie. This journey, because of this landslide that hit, it was sending me up another mountain altogether. But to climb to the summit of the mountain first, I had to go and face my fear, my ego mind, my doubts, outsiders. You know, I had to face all the burdens that I'd been carrying inside of me, that had been stopping this light from shining through and stopping my angel wings from opening up. This landslide brought that all crumbling down. Yeah, it brought a tower into my life. You know, it brought that crumbling down of everything I'd ever known up until that point. I'd existed in Ellie's life, you know. It brought that all down. And it came crashing down. Everything around me. Everything. There was not one part of my old life that they wanted me to hold on to. Why? Because this landslide hitting was a death and a rebirth. It was the old me dying. I died. When that landslide hit, unbeknownst to me, I was dying. And I don't mean in the physical sense. The old self, the old me was dying to be reborn. You know, this landslide hit because the old self of me was ready to be reborn. But first, I had to go up this mountain with these burdens. Many years, you're not talking days or months, many years of pushing through these hard burdens. So your burdens meaning your ego mind, your wounds, your traumas, your inner child, all of that. You know, those burdens that we carry inside of us. Every one of us, I had to go into all of that. And that was this landslide. So, I don't want me to get back to the lyrics. Yeah, so it's part of our, you know, it's part of facing our fears and losing our old identity. And if you've been following me, you'll know that the losing the old identity of this part of the journey is called the dark night of the soul. And this is the journey, you know, this is called a fool's journey. we are not a fool by no means. It just means that there's a journey ahead of you because of this landslide that's hit us. That's brought everything crumbling down to cause the death and rebirth of us. We then take this journey. We change total directions. The directions we was going in, we no longer, you know, we are no longer in control. You know, our eyes were blindfolded. We've got changes coming in. You know, like the song says, I'm afraid of changes because I've built my world around you. So my stability, my old life, was causing these crossroads. Choose different directions. But first, you know, I had to push through these burdens. I had to go up that mountain with these burdens on my back. Many, many years, day in, day out. Because this landslide brought it all crumbling down. And yeah, I felt there's 3 swords in my heart. I felt my heart was broken. And it was, because all my beliefs, all the belief systems, all the programming, all of what I'd been told, all of my identity prior to this landslide hitting me started to crumble. I started to see people for who they were. That's painful, you know, it's 3 swords in your heart. When that mask falls away, that veil of illusion falls away, because this landslide blew it all up. You know, there's a big moon on this picture, and the moon represents hidden. Well, when this comes down, you know, those things that were hidden inside of you, they're going to be revealed. Also about other people in your life, close ones. That's where, you know, your 3 swords, it's real, it's painful when you go on this journey, because you're facing all these burdens, all these wounds, all these traumas, this life, past lives. You're facing all of that when you start this journey into the unknown, because that landslide's brought it all down. Yeah, you're having a death, and that's not in the physical sense. Don't want to scare anybody. It's the old self crumbling away to be reborn. You're being reborn. You're like that phoenix rising from the ashes at the end of this journey. I say at the end, but I know it's a never-ending journey. But when you get through these burdens, and you take these 3 of swords out of your heart, you are the phoenix rising from the ashes. You are a very, very powerful spiritual warrior that has been through the fire, and you've walked through it. You know, you've had these 10 of swords. You've been there. You've been many, many times on this floor, this fallen angel. You know the saying. You are an angel, but at that point you've fallen. You know, you've fallen because you've got these 10 of swords. You've got these burdens that you still carry with you, because you're going through that death and that rebirth. It's not easy to go through a death and a rebirth. That's why it's called a dark night of your soul. Well, the soul's the deepest you're ever gonna go. The dark night. That's another level. You know, you're this in a dark night. It's like a cold, long winter. Long winter. And you're on your own. You've got to go in this dark night on your own. Why? Because this journey, it is finding your strength. It's finding your resilience. You want me to get back to the lyrics now? Okay, enough of the cards for seeing, Ellie. Right, so I'll just go back to my automatic writing. So because I was still trying to find my footing after the huge landslide had just blindsided me. I didn't see it then. I didn't know this landslide was bringing everything down to rebuild me inside and out. Yeah, at this point where this landslide had hit and everything around me, friends, family, everything I'd ever known, belief systems, deep core, inbuilt programming, everything I'd been taught was crumbling. Now, that is hard, you know. I know it's hard. I've been through it. That's going to take you there. I didn't know it was, you know, taking me on a whole another journey, very isolating journey. Became the hermit for many years. And I still go into hermit mode. And I go into this hermit mode because it's healing. You know, when you go into a hermit, you're healing. You know, you find your strength and your power there and healing. Yeah, you're like a magician also. You are the magician. You alchemize in this hermit mode. I do. I can't speak for others, but that's where I do my alchemy. And I become that magician I've always been. Then I return. I come out of the hermit and I carry on this journey. You know, I'm ready to take that next step on this journey. But yeah, I couldn't see it at that point. But pretty soon things started to, you know, come into my view. So this song to me is about being brave enough when that landslide hits. I wish I had a snowy mountain card. I'll have to look at some cards with mountains on them. When that landslide hits, you know, it's to confront the past, the present and the future. And the lyrics, I'm afraid of changes because I've built my world around you. Yeah, this landslide brought that question up for me. It stripped my identity of who I was from birth. It stripped that illusion of all I'd been taught, programmed to believe. It made me question everything in my life. And yeah, this landslide was my dark night of the soul, you know. So it took me into very dark places of looking at myself, my beliefs, others' beliefs that had been pushed on me, projections from others. It took me into, you know, my ego mind. To look at myself, you know, to understand where I've been going wrong. You know, it wasn't all about other people's wrongness and projections of me. My ego mind needed to be balanced out, and it took me there. And in this landslide, the dark night, I found my courage. Go back to my strength. I found my strength. I found my courage. I balanced my ego, and I found love for myself. I found out the lies was not real, you know, that I'd been told. I found out I can let go. I found out I was getting older, and it was beautiful to get older, you know. Getting older came that wisdom, that choice, and that bravery to make the changes. You know, seasons change, we're getting older. Yeah, getting older for me is a beautiful thing. I'm 47, but I don't feel it. I feel the youngest I've ever felt. That's because I'm making these changes. I'm making these choices. I'm having that bravery through this journey, this landslide that hit, to be my own voice, you know, to have my own voice. First time in my life to voice what you know, yeah, to voice this journey to help others. I'm having that bravery to be that, you know. That's because I've done this journey. I've been a hermit. I've had these 10 of swords on me while I've been laying on the floor many times. I've had these 2 of swords. I've had directions to choose. I've carried these burdens up that hill, you know, that mountain, that landslide. I faced it all. That's your dark night of the soul. When you go to your dark night, you're facing darkness you've never faced before. That's outside of yourself and also inside. You know, you get darkness coming from the outside at you as well on this journey. If you're a twin flame, you'll understand what I mean by that. Our light is so powerful. You know, people, outsiders, try to dim that light, but it's that powerful. It'll always shine through, always. I'm saying get back to the lyrics now, really. So, yeah, that life, you know, that line, I'm afraid of changes because I've built my world around you, but time gets bolder. Just go to the lyric. Time gets bolder, even children get older, and I'm getting older too. Yeah, you know, I started reflecting it during this dark night of the soul. Deep dark cave of, you know, see this lady here. It's like a long winter. I recall it. I don't want to go back there, and I never will do. I've done the healing. It's like a long, cold winter, and it's a dark cave of wintry snow nights. It's just, yeah, it's, if you've not been in a dark night, it's hard to explain. But during that dark night for me, a lot of reflection came. So I started to think, my children are getting older. I'm getting older too. Yeah, you know, it's that reflection. It was reflecting back at me. All the things that had come before, you know, no longer was part of me. You know, I had to make these changes. I had to be brave enough. I had to have this strength to keep making these changes, where everything, you know, before was that life I'd known. But yeah, this landslide, this soul awakening, dark night of the soul, was my changes. That was bringing those changes in for me. Yeah, so during this dark night of the soul, I found my independence. I let go of fear. I balanced my ego mind. I learned how to embrace my new path. You know, I learned I was on this new path, and there was no turning back, you know. Once this landslide had hit, put everything crumbling down, got that death and that rebirth in for me, I knew this new path. I was on a new path, forever changed. Forever going to change everything around me, for me and my family. I knew that. Your soul knows it. It's a knowing. So I'd found, you know, I learnt how to embrace this new path. And my new identity. And the identity of my old self died in that dark night of the soul. This death and rebirth, that identity of who I was before this landslide hit, died. The old Ellie died. I died in there. It literally feels like you're dying, and that it's a dying of everything, you know. It's not physical, but everything, your identity, that what you've built up to know, everything just dies, and you emerge out into the light, your true self. And you know, I'm a Leo, so I'm going to use this card. My true self was always this lady with strength, always this lady with courage, always this lady with wisdom, always. That was the true Ellie. I was never that broken angel on the floor with 10 swords. I was never that. I was always this lion, you know, this lions are courageous and brave. I was always this. Just didn't know it. I had to take this journey to know that about myself, and this journey is a journey of big transformation, you know, and going inside of yourself to discover your strengths and, you know, uncovering them wounds and the traumas. Yeah, this journey, you find your true self, your light, and the phoenix was rising in that dark night. You walk through the fire to rise from the ashes. So this song was, you know, I knew what Spirit's message was when it came through. It's about our soul, a journey back to our soul. It's about changes and letting go when you don't know what's to come. You know, this lady, she's on that cliff, and she's gonna jump. She's taking that step into her journey. She doesn't know what's coming. She does not know, but she knows that she has to follow this journey. She knows that it's going to lead her to something beautiful. Once she emerges out of this dark night of the soul, she knows it's taking her somewhere very beautiful. She knows that. I knew that all along. While I was in the dark night, I was having my death and my rebirth. I knew it was all because there was light inside of me. See this lady? She's got those burdens, but that light wants to get through. That light is cracking through each burden she pushes through, each dark night of the soul she goes into. And you can have more than one. I did. I had two. That light, it's coming through. Those wings, you know, they're spreading out more. She's finding her angel wings. She's leaving things behind. She knows she has to. She's going into that wilderness, that unknown, and she's ready to leave the past behind. She's sailing into waters that are clearer, you know. She's leaving that behind. And she's turning that wheel. She's turning that wheel for herself. She's making changes. When you turn that wheel, you're making changes. And let's get back to the landslide. So it's about being brave enough to embrace the changes even in the dark. It's about, we don't have it all figured out, you know, not one of us has the answers, not one. But when you go into this dark night of the soul, wow, you've got to be brave. You're a warrior in there, you know, this lady, she's a warrior on this horse. You're going into your death. That's not to scare anybody, that's not physical death, that's a, you know, you're going into the death of your old identity, and it's your rebirth. And it's to turn this wheel, this fortune's wheel, and leave the past behind and get out from these 9 of Wands. You know, this lady, she's peeping out of them. She's nearly out of them. She's nearly out from behind these wands that have been keeping her caged. Why? Because she's turning that wheel. She's making those changes. I've been the changes, 'cause I built my world around you. Yeah, she's been brave enough. She's not got it all figured out at this point, but, you know, she's been brave enough to make those changes, even in the dark. Even in the dark, she's making those changes. She's got blindfold on, but she's making decisions. She's choosing which way she wants to go. My choice was carry on with this journey. Go find my light. Go into that dark even more and go get my light back. The light that's always inside of us. Look at this lady with all that light inside of her. Wow. That's what we all are. There's not one of us that is not like this lady. That's masculines also, not gender specific. We hold this light inside of us. We hold gold inside of us. Now, if you caught my last reading about the gold, that was the gold song coming through. It's because we are gold. Every one of us. But to discover that gold, we have to go into our death and rebirth. That's how you discover the true gold inside of you. But for that, you make those changes. You turn that wheel. You keep turning that wheel. No matter how dark it is, no matter how lonely, isolating, you turn that wheel and you keep making those changes. And you get out of this. This lady's behind us, 5 of Swords. She's in despair. She's in isolation. But when you make those changes and you keep turning that wheel, that's what you become. You become the light. You become the light for others. You shine the light for others. Because you know, you've been there. You've done this journey. You have fought, I don't want to say the word, but you have fought dark stuff on this journey. You have found your strength. Your full strength. Your true identity. So your true identity is reborn. You know, my old self died in that dark night, and the self that emerged out into the light was my true self. The phoenix rising in the dark night. You know, you do walk through fire, and you do rise from the ashes. You know, so this part means I was transitioning from, so even children getting older and I'm getting older too. So this part was me reflecting and transitioning from being youthful insecurity to a more self-assured, courageous me. Yeah, when you go through a journey like this and you go through it on your own, and you have to go through it on your own, that is how you find your strength. I found my courage, and I wasn't scared of making these changes in my life anymore, because once you have been in this dark night of the soul and you've had your death and your rebirth a few times, yeah, you're courageous, you're brave, you know what you want, you know what you don't want, you know yourself. You're so assured at this point, you know. And that landslide that hit me had sent me into searching for my identity. And, you know, the dark night, in there, during this dark night, while I was in there, I found my independence. I balanced my ego mind out, you know, so I didn't eradicate my ego mind, I balanced it out. So I balanced my divine feminine energy, and I also balanced my divine masculine energy out inside of this dark night. I found, you know, I found ways to let go of my fear. I stopped fearing things. Yeah, I just learned how to embrace my new path. And this new path was just showing me the light I'd always held inside of me, always, but it'd been hidden from me. It's hidden from all of us. Now, if you follow me, you'll hear that I channel Mary Magdalene messages also. She speaks about speaks about the teachings that was hidden from us. Very, very powerful teachings. And I can speak of the journey now, because I've done this journey. I've walked through this journey. I have fought and battled through this journey to find my light. And there was powerful teachings that they did not want us to find. Mary Magdalene got silenced because she held powerful, powerful teachings of all of the light that we already hold inside of us. And what would happen if we take this journey? Mary Magdalene took it, and so did Yeshua. And we found out that we was truly, truly divine and human. We was human and divine. We are the two. What would happen? There would be no need for us to look outside of ourselves for answers. There would be no need for us to go to higher establishments. There would be no need for power, control. Well, that is all crumbling away now in this new golden age. We are messengers of these teachings. Very, very powerful teachings. The kingdom of God is inside of us. When you stop searching outside of yourself and go in, that is when you take this journey, you know, when you go inside of yourself and you find your light. Very, very powerful. Very powerful teachings. And that took a turn. But yeah, let's get back to the lyrics. So yeah, I found my light. I found the balance of, you know, my divine feminine and my divine masculine inside of the dark night of the soul. And I merged out speaking of these teachings, what I'd not known before, this journey. But I know now, once you take this journey, there's no way you can't know. So yeah, the changes, the saying being brave enough to make these changes, to go into these dark nights of the soul, to, you know, to dare to go where nobody wants to go, but to truly, truly come back to our light, our inner knowing of we are divine and we are also human. We are both. We hold that inside of us. And when we find that, wow, we are we're such powerful beings, you know. And that is what this journey is about. It's discovering that for ourselves. And you know, when you discover that, you discover this. Your Ten of Pentacles. You discover your happiness, your joy, your love for self, your love for others, your community. And you discover a lot more. Yeah. So I think that's it. But yeah, this song, this bit also, snow-covered hills. So when she sings the snow-covered hills line, you know, to me it's like that reflection during a hard time of life. And you know, my hardest time of life was when this landslide hit, and I was pushing through these burdens when this landslide hit, and you know, it took me into my dark night. That was the hardest part of my life, you know. And it yeah, the isolation. I was very much in isolation at this point, and I was reflecting, and I was in a very, very cold, wintry, dark place. You know, not days, not months, years in this dark place. That's your dark night. It's not got a time scale on it. Everyone's is different. You can have more than one. but it's a reflection. It's a reflection time, and you know, you're reflecting at all parts of your life. Yeah, and in there, you know, you start looking through these ones. You start realizing you're coming through it, and you do come through it, and you're meant to come through it. You come through it with more strength than you've ever had in your life, and the knowing of who you truly are. You know, and then you leave all behind what no longer serves you anymore. You leave it all behind, the past. You leave it all behind. You no longer carry these 10 of swords on you. You are no longer this angel on the floor with broken wings. You've found your wings at this point. And yeah, you're willing to carry on this journey, and you're willing to speak of this journey to help others find their light. Because you know this journey is taking you to your light. First, you've got to take that journey. Wow, yeah, Stevie Nicks. She was way beyond the years, wasn't she, when she wrote this song? I think she was 26, and she was at a hard point in her life. You know, she was at a crossroads. She was at crossroads in her life, you know, of a career, personal, and she was, yeah, changing. She was making those changes. That landslide hit for her to make these changes. Doesn't matter what age you are. Does not matter. We're never too old to make these changes. Turn that wheel. Never. We all have this light in us. We've just got to take this journey. And wow, so worthwhile. And I'm going to leave it there because it's getting on to 40 minutes. And yeah, Spirit's had me singing again. Thank you, Spirit. I hope this helps some people out there that are on this journey, or just starting this journey, or in the middle. Just like when I was on this journey, I found people to guide me and help me. Although it made no sense to, you know, the people around me. When you're on this journey, you know, your soul knows. Your soul knows what this journey is about. You know that. You know? Doesn't matter what people say. Follow your soul. Let your soul guide that way. Yeah, this card here. Follow your destiny. It's divine. It's a divine path. Yeah. And I shall speak to you all soon.